What is going on? We are back in black in the building. Y'all know I'm about to hit y'all with it. Did Jesus come back today? Oh, damn, man. Man, so you mean to tell me, man, I've been teaching Sunday school, speaking in tongues every week, and the nigga ain't came back yet? God damn, man. Y'all out of line. How about I know it. Look at that. Shout out to everybody out there at the Court Plantation, man. If you are there, much power and respect to you. If you are on your way there, much power and respect to you. If you have it off, man, chill, read, relax. We're going to talk about a lot of shit today. We're going to talk about our native blacks, Americans. Mitch McConnell don't seem to think so, but they've been thinking that way. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about self-respect. We're going to talk about integrity. We are going to talk about getting the fuck away from people that do not want to be in their own lane and handle business. And we're going to talk about the dope fiend mentality. We're going to talk about all that. So shout out to all you Sambos and Coons and tell them about the gun line. Hayward, Shepard, Steve from Django motherfuckers who all you want to do is go to work and tell on some goddamn body and do the sucker shit. So if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. That's goofy. Shout out to all you motherfuckers that's got a plan for yourself and you want to do what you need to do. Shout out to all my people that are maturing mentally and understand what they need to do. We're going to talk about all that shit today. Let's get into it. Hey. Don't have me to sing it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Look at that. Don't have me to get to singing in this bitch. I'll be like this. If you want to come home, this fuck tonight. No, I'm just fucking with y'all. No, I'm just fucking with y'all. But anyway, man, we got a lot of stuff to discuss, man. The main thing I want to get into, man. Today, I've been reading that The Race Baiter by Tariq Nasheed. That's a very good book. I'm flying through that motherfucker. He's breaking all that shit down. And man, the quotes from Dr. Frances Welsing and Neely Fuller Jr. and man, he's just breaking that shit down. And I think it's very important that we start reading. I'm talking about the older generation, us. Look, man, you can't save everybody. It ain't your job to save everybody. Some people want to handle business, some people don't. I learned this famous saying. Some motherfuckers want to ice skate uphill. So if you want to ice skate uphill, go ahead and do that. If you want to make it tougher for yourself, I'm talking about in life, go ahead and do that. But the one thing that we as a people, foundational black Americans, natives blacks as Dr. Clyde Anderson calls it, foundational black Americans as Tariq Nasheed calls it. The thing that I've learned and I observed, in the past, I would say 5 years is that, nigga, while you out there bullshitting, these white folk make money, and not just them, every other racial group is learning how to stick together to make money. So if you want to argue and fight with your brother and tear each other down, like I was even seeing this comment, man, I like the way Master P, it's like, what do we get out of like saying shit about other people's finances and, publicly? Sometimes those are things that can be discussed privately. And a lot of the times we don't understand that because we think, we really think that it'll gain fame and it'll gain traction if we start speaking on another person's finances and tearing each other down. And I don't believe in that. Even if I don't deal with you in that regard, especially if my family or you're somebody that I deal with or I've dealt with, I just won't say nothing. You have to move aside to move ahead. One thing is I was having a conversation yesterday, and I say this all the time. How are you socialized? I feel like the black church has done us a disservice by not teaching young black folk how to invest their money. You teaching us to save money, but saving money is just, you're waiting for time to expire. What are you doing to invest money? And when I mean invest money, like, what are you doing? Are you trying to invest in yourself? You know what I mean? Or what are you trying to do? What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? You know what I'm saying? Especially when you get older, because when you get older, man, things aren't as easy as they are when you're younger. So, who has the plan? You know what I mean? And everybody's plan is different. I understand it. Every plan is different. I can tell you one thing, though. In this matrix or an illusion, you have to be disciplined. You have to understand what is real. You have to understand what is fake. And while we are worried about clothes and shoes and jewelry and hanging out and bullshitting and partying and fucking off and just doing dumb shit, every other racial group are coming together like fucking transformers, like Voltron. And they will, as Dr. Claude Anderson, we're a permanent underclass now. Because we don't even see each other with any type of value. That's why a lot of times there's no listening. A lot of times there's no mentorship. You know, we don't know how to mentorship. We don't know what mentorship is because of lack of resources. The government putting crack in the black communities in the 80s. You know, all these set aside things that they've given to other racial groups when it comes to black folk, you just don't get them. And that's why I wanted to hit on this today. Shout out to No Compromise. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Shawnee, Tasha, all y'all, man. You already know what it is, man. But I was just thinking about this. I'm like, just imagine this when you grew up. The main goal was for everybody to get life insurance. Let's just imagine that. Let's just take 10% of the black churches in LA. 10%. And there's a church on every corner in LA. Let's just say 10% of them was a requirement to be at that church. For you to have a membership at that church, you had to go get your kid life insurance. Just imagine. I highly doubt it would be all these killings, these police officers shooting and killing motherfuckers, because they would get a lot of pressure from these life insurance policies of, hey, we got to pay out all these claims, man, because y'all out here being negligent. Just imagine that. Just imagine that. That's it. I'm not going to say nothing else about that. Just imagine if the black churches did that. We're so focused on tithes and building funds and all this other shit. Imagine on that just for your children. The preparation that it, you know, or let's just say 10% of the black churches were like, we're open. It's a requirement if you have a membership at our church, you need to get an IRA. You need to get a retirement fund. Well, my son is only 12. We'll open it up right now and put it in there. I don't care if you put $1 a month, $1 a week. You have something. And he can't take nothing out, but all he can do is just put something in. What if 10% of the black churches in LA taught financial stability in the churches? Okay, you teach God and all this other shit, but teach that. Because if you look at the way the world is now, what Mitch McConnell said does not surprise me. It doesn't. Even though, you know, you look, you know, the etymology of American, and the etymology says one which comes first, if I'm not mistaken. And then it talks about Americos Vespucci in the etymology dictionary. Then if you go to native, it talks about, you know, born in a specific area. You know what I mean? So I would say that foundational black Americans are native to this landmass. I would say that if you know your history, you would know that. If you read They Came Before Columbus, and you read other books, you listen to Dr. John Henry Clark, you listen to Dr. Francis Cresswell, and just the whole thing, it's right, it's real, genetic annihilation. See, they put those things out there so we can question who we are. That's why they say, oh, well, Americans vote more than black Americans or black people. Well, they've always looked at us as separate. And they've never looked at us as equal, so that doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is motherfuckers are still participating in the game where to them it's a formality. They don't really care if you participate or not. You know what I mean? Because they know fear, like in the Matrix, fear and desire. So they know you desire to be like them, and they know if you don't listen, we always have in our subconscious, oh, you know, these white folks, they gonna do something, so you're so fearful, you better go vote. Think about it. They're gonna take away your voting rights, so then motherfuckers go run to the polls. Oh, you better do this, because if not, you know that, you know, your people die for you to vote and all this other shit. You know, they know all these things can be a distraction. But if you knew your history, if you knew even a little bit of it, you would be like, well, how you gonna tell us we not Americans? We fought every war. We built this country for free without repayment. The fuck you mean? That's why it's easy to have other racial groups be like, oh, well, we built this country. No, nigga, you didn't build this country. And that shit doesn't surprise you. You want people to say this type of shit so you can know exactly where they're coming from. I just feel like a lot of the times, bad socialization, not having good mentorship, not teaching you know, and gaming the generations up. Like I said, I can only speak about my generation. When I grew up, it was just go to church and that's pretty much it. Read your Bible and do that shit and God will help you. But it's like, in this world of racism, white supremacy, that shit does not help you. You're like, well, what you mean? Nigga, I cannot, when I'm at the core plantation, I cannot, when a motherfucking white person talking crazy, I can't be like, oh, about shando, about that. No, nigga, that does not work. It just don't work. It don't work. They will call behavioral health on your motherfucking ass. You up there, shando, nigga. No, that doesn't work. And I feel like black folk, we cling so much to this religious shit that they gave us. When you bring up Dirty Bookman, I keep forgetting to bring that placard down. When you bring up Dirty Bookman, a motherfucker look at you like you crazy. But it's like, black Christians have been praying to Cesare Borgia for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. And when you come in there and be like, well, hey, don't you think we should switch this up? Because how can you draw power from their God when it's their God looks like them? Think about it. If you're looking at it and you're seeing that, subconsciously when you close your eyes, you think that's your God. When you open up your eyes, and if that guy looks like them and they're white, then they're your God. Then all of a sudden, they become your master mentally. You know what I mean? That's why you have to understand, this is just my perspective. This is not everybody else's perspective, but my perspective is like, we have to have a better sense of reality. We got to know what the fuck we doing. We got to know where we're going. Whether people listen to what the fuck you got to say or not, you keep it moving. And we have to learn how to stop fighting each other about dumb shit, man. I was having this conversation the other day with one of my siblings, like, man, we spend way too much time fighting about shit that don't even matter. It's just frivolous. Just, what are you arguing about? That's the one thing I've always, well, what are we talking about? All right, you want to make your point? Cool. I'll make my point. Cool. We make our point. Cool. But when it gets to the point to where it's a full-blown argument about nothing, somebody has to be the voice of reason to be like, all right, what are we talking about? Because this shit doesn't make sense. Especially when it comes to whether you want to get the jab or you don't want to get the jab. And then you got people that don't get the jab talking crazy to people that got the jab. No, everybody has to get the jab for their own personal reasons, man. If your core plantation say you need to get the jab, you got to get the jab. I don't look at nobody no different. You have to do what you have to do to survive. They have learned this system, the architects of this system have learned how to co-opt it in such a way where, well, nigga, you can't really rebel against us because you have to pay your rent. You have to pay your bills. So I don't look at people crazy because they did that. I look at people crazy for arguing about shit that don't matter while the dominant society is plotting and planning their next move. We up here fucking arguing with each other. And then other racial groups are like, well, cool, while these dumbass niggas is arguing, we'll just move ahead of them. And as Dr. Klein Anderson talks about, black folk will be a permanent underclass. That's why I don't understand why motherfuckers... I saw this thing even where this Asian girl got the NAACP award. Now, y'all tell me, what the fuck is some Asian girl doing getting the NAACP award? You know why? Because the NAACP is co-opted by the dominant society. That's why the NAACP and the ambulance chasers follow motherfuckers around and politicize deaths so they can get a settlement. You know what I mean? And get publicized. And then we do this we shall overcome shit. Now, if that's what y'all want to do, go ahead and do it. But nigga, you're not about to politicize what the fuck I got going on. Now you got motherfucking judges just prison the pipeline with black kids. Oh well. They not watching them anyway. It's a lot of stuff that's going on, man. And I just feel like when I saw that shit about the Asian lady getting the NAACP award, I was dying laughing. Because I was like, well, look at this shit. There was another thing I was watching too. And I want to get on that shit real quick. Like, look, okay, now y'all know that black brother that was on that cheerleader, the moist black brother that was on the cheerleading squad, who now he under federal investigation. I forgot his name. I'm about to try to look this motherfucker up. And he was on this the Netflix show Cheer. Wait, let me see net. Let me see if I can look it up. All right, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Hold on, let me see. Because it's a brother on there. Yeah, Cheer on Netflix. How season 2 handled sexual assault allegations against breakout star Jerry Harris. Yeah, so his name is Jerry Harris. Moist. Oh, I'm going to talk about this shit. It's Jerry Harris. Let me see. Let me look him up. Let's see. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this shit is because I said, oh, this is that motherfucker that came up on those charges. This is so ironic. Let me see what the fuck this shit is. So I'm watching it. I said, I want to see exactly what the fuck is going on. Because normally they love to parade moist black men. They love that shit. So I'm like, I want to see how many white moist motherfuckers they gonna parade around in this cheerleading shit. Every other scene, it was either white women or the moist brother and another moist brother. They showed one time where it was a white boy on the cheerleading thing and he was on some moist shit. And then they had like a person that was in charge. He was moist too. But they very seldom show, I'm talking about that's on the cheerleading squad, they very seldom showed a white moist motherfucker. They kept showing that Jerry Harris and there was another moist brother and he was kind of talking about how he had to fight all the time and all this other stuff. And I said, see, this is the shit that I'm talking about. And they just kept showing those brothers. And then the brother Jerry Harris, he's one of those moist Sambo coons. Like, they like to parade that shit around. He just loud, obnoxious, and the lisp and all the bullshit. And I just was like, you know, I'm just crossing my hand, my arms. I'm just watching. I'm like, see, the dominant society know what the fuck they doing. So let me see. Cheer deals with Jerry Harris' arrest, but it was USA Today reporters who exposed the sports problem here is now. Yeah, see, they not saying nothing. The Netflix show. Wait, let me see. Among them was choreographer Brandon Hill, who was reported to have investigated in the past. Yeah. Jerry Harris attends the event to discuss the Cheer series. Let's see. Kowalski was one of the first reporters in the Indianapolis Star who broke the story of Dr. Larry. Okay, yeah. So they said this shit been going on. Okay. Now this is what I want to talk about. All right, let's get to it. Now, in this series, it's like they cheerleading and all this other shit. And it's really actually boring. But I was very interested because, you know, they had the moist brother out there and all these sexual assault charges and you messing with the little kids and all that. So I'm like, okay. Now I want to see what the fuck is going on. So like I said, they had 3 moist brothers and they just kept the camera on them the whole fucking time. I watched it for like 10, 15 minutes and I'm like, see, this is some bullshit. Like I said, they had a couple of white brothers on there. That was much, but they had them on for like 10 seconds and then boom, they'll flip it to a white girl tumbling and flipping and then it'll be back to the moist brothers. The whole time. It just, the whole time. So I'm like, this is done by design. Then there came a part on this show where they had these 2 white boys on there who they just would hold the bitches up. They never really had them on they never really had them on camera that much. These 2 white brothers was like, yeah, you know, we're in the gym and we're strengthening and we're trying to tone ourselves up because we don't tumble. Because the tumblers were moist. The brothers were tumblers and they were moist. And these white boys made a distinction of, oh no, we don't do that. And then they had to correct themselves like, yeah, no, we don't tumble. That's for them. We in the gym and we work out because we got to lift, we got to keep a certain stance. Basically, We ain't with that sucker shit. Them boys motherfuckers can do that shit. We over here working out. We just basically like, we fuck hoes. We just hold up the bitches. They was never on scene with the Moist brothers. You never even, after that, I'll start fast forward and try to see if I can get a glimpse of those two brothers. They were never around those Moist brothers, ever. And they made sure when they got those white boys in the gym, it was just those two motherfuckers on camera talking, and they purposely expressed, oh no, we don't do the tumbling and the stunts and all that. Nah, we don't do that. We just work out and keep ourselves fit, basically to hold up the bitches and shit. Like, we fuck hoes, basically. This was my interpretation of it. Nigga, we fuck hoes. We ain't doing that silly, goofy, fruit booty shit that these niggas is doing. And I'm like, wow, this is and after that I said, there it is. There it is right there. Got it. There it is. See? When you allow these people to control and write these narratives, that's what it is. And then it was one of the colleges, it was a white woman that was in charge of the cheer team or whatever. So that's cool. I was like, okay, cool. But there was another college, and in my mind, I'm like, I hope, and it was a black brother that was the head coach of the cheerleader. I'm like, man, what the fuck is this, man? And I just was kind of like, see, this is why this shit is on TV. This is exactly why this shit is on TV. Because they love a fucking Moist mascot, man. And that's why I feel like we have to change the narrative of where we are going. Singularity, we like our single lane. You have to change the narrative. And then as a group, we have to be on code and understand, like, LBGTQ, LMNOP, XYZ. Hey, y'all are brothers too. We love y'all, but y'all need to understand y'all black first and stop allowing these dominant society people to parade you around like a goddamn mascot, because that's all they're using you for. And then the Moist motherfucker, like, his mom was on hospice and stuff, and you know, so he's a charity case, you know, and they like that. The dominant society loves a black person in a docile, weak position where they can help you. Oh, look at the little nigger. Oh, let's raise some money for him. Oh, you know, he wants to be a cheerleader. Man, stop. Would you raise the money for him if he wanted to go to Morehouse and he was pro-black and he wasn't with that bullshit? Y'all wouldn't give a flying fuck about him then. That's why I'm like, man, we have to start changing the narrative, man. And it starts with you. Each one teach 21. Hey, you're going to come across people that don't listen. I was having a conversation yesterday, and I'm just like, when you have, I've been having this conversation for a long time. When you have resources, a lot of them, or just say you have money, you're going to have a whole bunch of unloyal people around you. And then they're going to begin to resent who you are because you're playing the Hansel and Gretel crumb game. You're playing the master. You're playing Dutch Schultz when he was eating those sandwiches with Officer Foley, and then Bub, his bodyguard, he was like, well, here, take these sandwiches home. After he done scratched his balls and digging in his booty and shit and eating the food, and then he was like, take the food home. This is what they do. Like, we're just going to give you the table scraps. And it's like, we want to look the best. We want to sound the best. We want to act the best, but we have no financial stability as a group. We have no economic base as a group. We don't want to support each other as a group because we don't want to listen. The generations before us didn't really teach us about togetherness and being on code. And then you get to this generation now, they're even more decadent than our generation because of the lack of guidance, mentorship, socialization, and making sure you're doing what you need to do. We need to stop having this mentality of victimhood. And when I mean victimhood of, oh man, I'm a victim of system racism, white supremacy. So that means I just want to finesse and run game. I don't really want to do nothing because, I'm depressed. I'm oppressed by the man. Well, that doesn't stop you from going out and handling business. You can't use that it's like, yeah, we are all victims of racism, white supremacy, but that doesn't mean, nigga, you ain't got to eat. That ain't mean you ain't got to sleep. That ain't mean you want to drive. That don't mean that you can't go out and achieve certain things because you have to do it. Because in this system, look, the only thing that has a No Child Left Behind Act is the school system for the most part. Everything else, they don't give a fuck how far behind you are. Once you get a certain age, man, go to LA and look at the homelessness population. You go to the Staples or the Bitcoin arena, whatever the fuck they want to call that shit, and go over there on the next street is Skid Row. It's Tent City over there. And motherfuckers, they don't give a fuck. They just keep driving like that shit don't even exist. But then we want to talk about a war on poverty. Stop. You got Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and all these fucking billionaires who could change everything, but they don't believe in rising tides lifts all bills. They believe in fuck you, I'm gonna get my money, and I don't give a fuck who's. So if I gotta step on each other's head, that's why I feel like for the most part, dominant society are not honorable in business. They're not honorable in business. They will gut each other like fish, smile with each other, backdoor each other, just do all kinds of sucker shit because they don't have honorable in their system. That's why corporations are psychopaths. They'll smile with you today and your parents will die tomorrow and they'll feel bad for you. The next day they'll fire you. That's a fact. And then they try to get you to open up and tell your personal business, all this other stuff. That's why I just be looking like, look at these motherfuckers, man. Look at how we're always shown in a negative light because they frame that narrative. They frame the picture that way on purpose. That's why I'm like, so you got all these moist brothers that you parade around like a mascot. Then you put the white boys on there and they like, nah, we don't do that shit. And they ain't had not a moist tone in their body. And them motherfuckers like, we fuck hoes, nigga. That's what they really wanted to say. And they never, it was almost like they wasn't even on the series. Cause I'm like, I ain't seen these brothers nowhere. And I'm looking now. Now I'm fast forwarding, rewind. I'm like, where are these two white boys at? And they made sure they kept them off the camera where they wasn't around that moist shit. And I'm like, almost like Lil Nas X's video, and then the white boy rapper with the curly hair, he in there with a suit by himself. He ain't doing no more shit. But the black folk, we shaking, got our bussies all in the air and all this bullshit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they know what they doing. Genetic annihilation. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's book, The ISIS Papers. They know who the Moors are. Most people that really know history, they know who we are. They know about genetic annihilation. We're the dominant gene. The dominant society's gene is the recessive gene. We can make white and black. They can't make either. They know what the fuck it is. We need to learn what it is. They got y'all thinking that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, and just get the fuck out of here. No motherfuckers don't know about Granville T. Woods. Motherfuckers don't know about the motherfucker that really invented the light bulb. It's funny, man. They will go with that narrative. That's why when I was watching that shit, I said, wow. This is some crazy shit. They out of line for this shit. And I'm just watching, saying, wow. They have done a good job of making sure it's gonna be this way. So man, let that marinate. Stop the arguing, stop the fighting, stop the press with the bullshit and get on the same page, man. And if you got you a lane or you got you a formula, man, try to make it work. I don't claim to know anything, and I wouldn't say that my formula and the way I've done things has been always correct. I've made a lot of mistakes, bumped my head a lot. But I did not have the proper guidance, the proper mentorship, and I was not socialized to buy property and 401k and life insurance policy and all. I was having that conversation yesterday. It's like, how the fuck we not knowing about this shit? But the older generation knew a little bit about it. And stop. No. Let me tell you something. Church I went to, shit. The older generation, everybody had houses. So I don't want to hear that shit. Now, some people may be in an apartment, whatever, but those generations, I'm talking about the 40s and the 50s and 60s, everybody had houses. Stop. Niggas was not just living in apartments. Niggas had houses. It's just you weren't teaching the other generations. Hey, man, shout out to Shawnee filling the building, Erica in the building, no compromise, Tasha. You already know what it is, Tommy. Hey, man, only way to get there is together. We got to be on the same page. We got to know how to agree to disagree sometimes. We don't have to agree on everything. I don't want motherfuckers to agree with me. Give me your perspective. Every day is a school day, and it's about gathering information. Information is key. Knowledge is power. The more information you have, the better your situation will be when you out there in the world. Like I said, if you live in Las Vegas, Nevada, inflation is a motherfucker. Let me tell you something. Man, rent is at an all-time high out here in this motherfucker. You are definitely, as Dr. Claude Edison said, competing with the Latino community because we are a permanent underclass because them motherfuckers is everywhere and they got all the jobs sold up. So you're definitely competing with them. So when do you have time to fight your brother or sister? When do you have time to do that when you're competing with everyone else? Because racism is the competition of resources to use and use those resources to oppress and control and manipulate another racial group. And that's what they're doing. We don't have any resources. Planes, boats, cars. As Dr. Claude Anderson talks about, it's competition of resources, right? So let's just correlation effect. All right, so then that's what Dr. Claude Anderson is talking about. Neely Fuller Jr. says they dominate 9 areas of people activity. Those 9 areas that he mentioned are all fucking resources. Labor, law, you know what I'm saying? With the exception probably of religion. Labor, law, education, economics, those are pretty much resources. So it's like if they dominate those 9 areas of people activity, as him and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talks about, then I would say that Dr. Claude Anderson and Neely Fuller Jr. and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, they all on the same page. For real. It may be a little different, but it's the same shit. It's just they learned how to work together a lot better than we do because we so busy looking at what motherfucker got on. And let me tell you something too. I'm going to tell you this before I get off. Look, man, you don't see wealthy people hanging out with poor people. And you don't see mentally tough people hanging out with mentally weak people. And let me tell you another thing too. When you think you know, I'm going to give you this quote that a white Mormon told me a long time ago. This was like in the 90s. This white Mormon dude, he was a referee. He was like, the more you know you don't know. That's some real shit. And I was like, what? And then I remember I told a black person that he was like, that's real shit. I was like, and I've been saying it ever since. The more you know you don't know. So, nigga, that's what it is. And he was a white Mormon dude. He was a referee, and he was like, I grew up Mormon, but once he started doing his research on his religion, he just kind of was like, whoa. And then that made him start looking at other religions. And then he started looking at other religions, and he was like, I got a lot of love for the Mormon religion, but shit, I got to go look over here. And then he just kept researching and doing different things. And I remember he told me that the more you know you don't know. And I was like, man, and sometimes you got to move aside to move ahead. Don't be fighting motherfuckers. If you got time to fight, you got time to get a life insurance policy, get a 401k, get some stocks, bonds, and a mutual fund. Think about that. Every time you get ready to start talking shit to a motherfucker and all this other shit, be like, oh shit, maybe I should take that energy and go get me a life insurance policy. Then I bet you stop fighting then. Man. These are just things that we need to work on because it's for the betterment of us. And for people that think that they know, let them know. Just let them know, hey, man, you doing it at your own risk, and that's it. And go on about your way. And the one thing that I have learned about the United States of America Incorporated is this. Reality and life is the best. Reality, life, and experience is the best teacher. And I'm gonna leave with that. And if you out here talking about this, well, technically we're not Americans because they brought us from Africa over here and all that. You are Sambo Coon. Tell them about the gun line. I don't fuck with you. Guilty, nigga. I'm out. Peace.